Disrespect isn't always a thunderclap. It doesn't always roar or scream or land a public, humiliating blow. Sometimes, in its most insidious form, it whispers. It's a subtle, creeping sensation, a gradual erosion of your very essence, slowly but surely chipping away at your soul. While it certainly can be loud and aggressive, like the sting of being yelled at, the vulgarity of being cursed out, or the crushing weight of public insult, more often than not, the true damage is wrought by its subtlety. It's in the quiet, almost imperceptible moments that the deep cuts are made. Think about it. Have you ever felt that invisible sting when you're speaking, and you catch the quick rolled eyes of someone you thought cared? Or the heavy, exasperated sighs that follow your attempts to express genuine feelings, making you instantly regret opening up? It's embedded in the constant interruptions that tell you, without a single word, that your thoughts and contributions simply don't matter enough to be heard. And those seemingly innocent sarcastic remarks, laced with just enough venom to make you question your own perception, your own worth, your own sanity, those are disrespect in disguise. It shows up when someone, fully aware they've crossed a line, dismisses your perfectly valid pain by calling you too sensitive, turning your emotional integrity against you. It manifests starkly when someone walks right past your visible pain, treating your hurt as if it's an invisible inconvenience, not a deeply felt, legitimate experience. These small, seemingly isolated moments, over time, aren't isolated at all. They accumulate. They don't just add up. They compound, building brick by brick, whisper by whisper, into a deafening, unmistakable message that resonates deep within your core. You don't matter here. And the undeniable, fundamental truth is this: it truly doesn't matter where it originates. Whether it emanates from the person sharing your bed, your most trusted friend, a colleague you spend countless hours with, or even a cherished member of your own family, disrespect, in any and all its forms, is inherently unacceptable. No one, absolutely no one, is granted a free pass, a special exemption, to devalue who you are, to diminish your spirit, or to undermine your intrinsic worth. Just because someone holds a place of intimacy or familiarity in your life doesn't grant them the arbitrary permission to talk down to you, to casually belittle your deeply held thoughts, or to cruelly minimize your lived experiences. Let's be crystal clear on this. Proximity does not, under any circumstances, equal privilege. It's a boundary often violated, but it's a boundary that must be steadfastly held. Disrespect also takes on another insidious form: exclusion. This manifests powerfully when people consistently, perhaps even deliberately, ignore your input, when they systematically leave you out of critical conversations where your voice and perspective are crucial, or when they behave as if your very presence is entirely optional, easily dismissed. What they are truly saying, loud and clear through their actions, is that you are not worth including. You are not valuable enough to be part of the dialogue, the decision-making, or the shared experience. And that kind of devastating message, when it's internalized and allowed to take root within your psyche, can lead to a cascade of profoundly damaging consequences. It can sow the bitter seeds of pervasive self-doubt, fostering a suffocating silence where your authentic voice once thrived, and ultimately, even a crippling sense of self-betrayal, where you begin to abandon your own needs and truths. Because, if you're not acutely careful, if you don't vigilantly guard your inner landscape, you'll start down that slippery slope of questioning your own voice. You'll begin to twist yourself into knots, wondering, maybe I am overreacting to this. Maybe I should just stay quiet and not rock the boat. Maybe I should just let it go. But here's where you need to draw a firm, unshakable line in the sand. No, you absolutely should not let it go. Not ever. The very moment you begin to tolerate disrespect, no matter how grand or how seemingly insignificant, you are, in essence, sending a powerful, unambiguous signal to the entire world. And crucially, to yourself: this is okay with me. I will accept this. And once that invisible line is crossed, once that boundary is breached, history shows us that it is rarely, if ever, fully walked back. People, unfortunately, have a tendency to treat you precisely to the level of what you consistently allow. If you permit yourself to be disrespected, they will, almost without exception, continue to push that boundary, inch by painful inch, until one day you awaken, look around, and horrifyingly realize that you've been living, breathing, and existing in a space that fundamentally dishonors you, a space where your inherent worth is continually undermined and eroded. This isn't just about fleeting moments. It's about the cumulative impact on your entire being. Disrespect also takes on countless other forms, each one chipping away at your sense of self. It looks like someone making monumental decisions that directly affect your life, without ever bothering to consult you, treating you as an afterthought, an irrelevant detail. It manifests as the frustrating experience of being constantly talked over in a room, particularly one where you should rightfully have an equal seat at the table, where your expertise and perspective should be valued. It looks like someone laughing at your most cherished dreams, openly mocking your heartfelt ambitions, or perpetually doubting your capabilities even when you've proven yourself time and again. It's the ultimate betrayal when someone weaponizes your vulnerability, taking something sacred and deeply personal you've courageously shared with them and twisting it, using it as leverage or a weapon against you. It's the insidious bite of passive-aggressive comments that leave you unsettled, but unable to pinpoint the exact offense. It's the chilling silence of the silent treatment, a deliberate and cruel maneuver explicitly designed to punish you and manipulate your behavior. Or it's the hollow ring of praise that's only ever given when it directly benefits them, serving their agenda rather than genuinely acknowledging your efforts. And sometimes, perhaps the deepest, most cutting form of disrespect is silence itself. It's the kind of deafening silence that engulfs you when someone watches you struggle, truly struggle, seeing your pain, your confusion, your overwhelm, and says absolutely nothing. It's when they bear witness to your tireless effort, your dedication, your sacrifice, and offer no acknowledgement, no kind word, no simple nod of appreciation. It's when they see your profound hurt, your tears, your emotional agony, and seem to feel no empathy whatsoever. Their face is a blank mask of indifference. Disrespect doesn't always wear the fierce, angry face of overt aggression. Sometimes, in its most chilling form, it wears the mask of cold indifference. This kind of disregard can be more damaging than outright anger, for it denies your very existence and emotional reality. Recognizing disrespect, truly seeing it for what it is, demands a profound level of self-awareness. It requires tuning into that quiet, intuitive voice within you that whispers, "This doesn't feel right." This internal knowing is crucial, especially when everyone else around you is trying to gaslight you, trying to convince you that it's not a big deal, that you're making too much of it, or that you're just being sensitive. Because the undeniable truth is, anything that compels you to shrink your authentic self, anything that makes you feel the need to hide your true light, anything that forces you to perpetually question your inherent worth, or anything that causes you to fundamentally abandon yourself and your needs for the sake of another, that, my friend, is a very big deal indeed. Your feelings are legitimate, your intuition is valid, and your boundaries are absolutely sacred. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. Now, let's talk about lies. Lies don't just break trust in the fleeting moment they are uttered. They actively fracture the very foundation of everything you're painstakingly trying to build with someone. It truly doesn't matter how small or seemingly insignificant the lie is, how white it may seem, or what good intentions might be claimed. The very moment someone makes the conscious, deliberate choice to bend the truth, even by a millimeter, they are, at that precise instant, choosing control over genuine connection. They are prioritizing their own narrative, their own comfort, or their own agenda over the open, honest bond that true connection requires. Because a lie, regardless of how beautifully or intricately it's wrapped, whether it's presented as an attempt to protect your feelings, to keep the peace, or to avoid an uncomfortable confrontation, is still, at its core, an undeniable act of disrespect. It silently, yet powerfully, communicates a deeply damaging message. I don't trust you with the truth, or even worse, I don't think you're truly worthy of knowing the truth. And when those individual lies metastasize into patterns, when someone consistently says one thing with their mouth but their actions repeatedly and unequivocally demonstrate another, it creates an unbearable state of emotional confusion. You're left in a perpetual, agonizing cycle of second-guessing yourself, your perceptions, and the very reality of the relationship. Was that real? Was that sincere? Am I just overthinking this? Am I imagining things? This relentless mental tug-of-war, this constant internal battle for clarity, begins to drain you, not just emotionally, leaving you exhausted and depleted, but profoundly spiritually as well, because it's not simply the lie itself that inflicts such deep, lingering pain. It's everything it cruelly robs from you, your precious inner peace, your essential mental clarity, and your fundamental ability to feel truly safe, secure, and grounded within that relationship. The ground beneath you becomes perpetually shaky. A broken promise is simply a lie that was meticulously dressed up in the false clothing of hope. It's the profound disappointment that washes over you when someone extends their solemn word, a sacred bond, and then, with breathtaking casualness, walks away from it as if it possessed no weight, no value, no meaning whatsoever. Perhaps they emphatically declared they'd show up for you, be there for you, and then, without warning, they didn't. Maybe they promised, with seeming sincerity, to genuinely change a deeply ingrained behavior, and then didn't even make the slightest, most rudimentary effort to try. Or perhaps they looked you directly in the eyes, their gaze seemingly earnest, and declared, "You can count on me," only for you to find yourself utterly alone, abandoned, when it mattered most, when you were at your most vulnerable. When this soul-crushing scenario happens repeatedly, when promises become little more than empty words, it doesn't just create fleeting disappointment, it causes profound, deep-seated damage. Because when someone consistently breaks their promises, when their word holds no weight, what they are truly doing, on a much deeper level, is systematically breaking your trust in yourself. They are eroding your innate ability to believe in the goodness of people, to expect genuinely good things to happen in your life, and to feel truly secure and cherished within the context of love. And here's the critical nuance. One lie, one single misstep, might very well be forgivable. We are, after all, imperfect human beings, prone to mistakes and moments of weakness. We all fall short at times. But when someone lies again and again, when dishonesty becomes a persistent, predictable pattern, they are, in essence, showing you that your consistent forgiveness has tragically become their unwritten permission. They don't perceive your grace, your understanding, your patience as a precious gift of love. They cynically see it as a convenient loophole, an easy escape clause from accountability. And each successive time you, in your hope and goodness, overlook their deceit, they learn one dangerously destructive lesson: I can get away with this. It then morphs into a toxic, draining, and utterly predictable cycle. They lie. You eventually, painfully, find out. They offer a quick, often superficial apology. They make another grand, empty promise. You, in your hopefulness, desperately want to believe them. And then they inevitably break it again, over and over, ad nauseum. And you, with a heartbreaking stubbornness, keep hoping against all evidence that this time will finally, miraculously, be different. But remember this vital, sobering truth: hope without corresponding, tangible action is just a protracted delay, a postponement of inevitable reality. And love without foundational truth is simply a delusion, a cruel fantasy. You cannot build anything real on such shaky ground. What makes these repeated lies and broken promises especially agonizing is how they relentlessly erode your inner stability. They chip away at your self-confidence, leading you to perpetually doubt your own unerring judgment. You begin to internalize a damaging narrative, thinking, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just expecting too much from people. Am I being unreasonable? But let me be unequivocally clear on this: expecting honesty, fundamental transparency, is not too much. Expecting consistency, reliability, and integrity is not asking for the moon. These fundamental qualities are the absolute baseline, the foundational bedrock, the non-negotiable minimum requirement of any genuinely healthy relationship, be it romantic, platonic, professional, or familial. Without them, the entire relational structure is unstable, unsound, and ultimately unsustainable. There's also a particularly cruel and deeply cutting form of broken promise that delves even deeper into the wound of betrayal, the kind that involves someone deliberately playing with your future. Perhaps they painted a vivid, compelling picture for you, telling you they were going to grow with you, build a life alongside you, tirelessly support your grandest dreams. and stand steadfastly by your side through all of life's inevitable storms. And then, when life truly got real, when the storms actually hit with full force, they simply, inexplicably disappeared. That kind of abandonment isn't just a broken word, a failed commitment. It's a profound betrayal of belief, because you didn't just believe in them as a person. You believed in the shared future, the potential, the life you two could forge together. And when they walked away from that shared vision, it wasn't merely about them physically leaving. It was about them leaving you to tragically carry the immense weight of that shared dream, entirely alone, to pick up the shattered pieces of a future you had built together in your mind. And finally, lies aren't always explicitly spoken, articulated words. Sometimes, the most excruciating and damaging lies are in what people don't say. They are in the crucial truths they deliberately hide from you, the difficult, uncomfortable conversations they meticulously avoid, the undeniable facts they know will profoundly hurt you but actively keep from you anyway, all to protect their own fragile comfort, their own peace of mind, their own selfish interests. That kind of profound silence, the silence of deliberate omission, speaks volumes, screaming its true message. And what it screams is loud and clear. I care more about keeping things easy and convenient for myself than I care about keeping things honest and transparent with you. Let this resonate deeply within your core. There is no real, authentic love without truth, and there is no genuine, lasting connection without consistent, reliable follow-through. Repeated lies and perpetually broken promises don't just harm the relationship itself. They systematically, insidiously chip away at your self-worth. Because every single time you, in your hope and generosity, forgive without witnessing any genuine, tangible, and sustained change in their behavior, you are, in essence, handing them yet another piece of your irreplaceable peace. Your inner tranquility, your energy is your lifeblood. It is the invisible yet profoundly potent currency that fuels absolutely everything you are, everything you do, and everything you aspire to be. Your most cherished dreams, your critical decisions, your most intimate relationships, your unique voice, your invaluable inner peace. And just like pure, unadulterated gold, it is exceptionally rare, immensely valuable. And once it's completely drained, utterly depleted, it takes a significant amount of time, conscious effort, and intentional self-care to painstakingly rebuild. That's precisely why you absolutely must treat your energy with the same level of reverence, the same sacred respect that you would give to something truly holy, something divine. Because, in essence, it is sacred. It is your life force, you see. Not everyone who offers you a fleeting smile or a superficial compliment genuinely deserves a permanent, cherished seat at your inner table, in the most intimate chambers of your life. Not everyone who demands your precious time and attention deserves unlimited, unrestricted access to your thoughts, your emotions, and your mind. And just because someone happens to show up in your life, whether by chance or by design, does not automatically mean they have earned the undeniable right to stay there indefinitely, draining you. Some people, quite frankly, are not looking for genuine connection, for mutual growth. They are looking for consumption. They are not interested in your well-being, your personal growth, or your blossoming. They are solely focused on what they can extract, what they can take, what they can gain from your presence, your resources, your emotional generosity. They will systematically drain your vibrant spirit, exhaust your precious mind, and ultimately leave you in a state of profound depletion, perpetually questioning your own fundamental worth. And it's crucial to understand that this isn't always born from malicious ill intent. Sometimes it's simply a matter of profound misalignment, a fundamental incompatibility of core values, life goals, or emotional needs. But let me be unequivocally clear. Misalignment is more than enough reason to create distance. Your precious energy simply cannot genuinely thrive, cannot flourish, in spaces or relationships where your deepest values, your authentic self, are constantly being trampled upon, ignored, or disrespected. You absolutely have to be intentional. You have to fiercely guard your space, your personal energetic bubble, with the same vigilance and protectiveness with which you guard your physical home, your most prized possessions, because your peace of mind, your unwavering focus, your emotional stability, these are not merely fleeting feelings. They are invaluable, irreplaceable treasures, And if you leave the door to your inner world wide open, unguarded, anything and everything can walk right in. Toxic gossip, pervasive negativity, soul-crushing comparison, disruptive chaos, superficial distraction cunningly disguised as genuine friendship, and those insidious emotional vampires in the form of seemingly well-meaning people who invariably leave you feeling a little more drained, a little more depleted, and a little less like your authentic self every single time they walk away from an interaction with you. Sometimes, protecting your sacred energy demands the radical act of learning to say no, unequivocally and unapologetically, not offering lengthy, convoluted explanations, not softening it with polite excuses or unnecessary apologies, just a firm, clear, self-respecting no. No to people who consistently expect you to endlessly pour your energy, your time, your emotional labor into them while they offer you nothing but empty words, hollow promises, and perpetual demands in return. No to those fair-weather acquaintances who only bother to reach out when they desperately need something from you, never when you might need them. No to environments, whether professional or social, that openly celebrate your silence, your conformity, and your agreeable nature, but actively punish and diminish your truth, your authenticity, and your bold voice. No to constantly being available and accessible, perpetually on call, for those who demonstrably wouldn't even notice if you suddenly disappeared from their lives entirely, because every single yes you utter, every concession you make, that isn't deeply and truly aligned with your inner peace and your core values, is, in essence, a direct withdrawal from your own spiritual bank account. It depletes your internal reserves. And protecting your energy also profoundly means rigorously protecting how you speak to yourself, because it's not exclusively other people who possess the power to drain and deplete you. Sometimes, tragically, it's you yourself. It's the constant, nagging, self-sabotaging way you talk yourself out of joy, out of opportunities, out of vibrant experiences. It's the pervasive self-doubt you carry with you, clinging to your spirit like a heavy, second skin, weighing you down. It's the damaging stories, the painful narratives you stubbornly keep replaying from your past, reliving hurts and perceived failures that you should have courageously let go of years, perhaps even decades, ago. You simply cannot keep extending boundless grace, limitless compassion, and endless understanding to everyone else around you, and then, in stark contrast, starve yourself of that same grace, that same compassion, that same understanding. You deserve it to. Sometimes, you've just got to make the conscious decision to switch off the overwhelming external noise, to completely unplug from the draining chaos and relentless demands of the world, and to bravely go deep, deep inward. Ask yourself the truly critical questions, the ones that matter most for your well-being. What or who is genuinely stealing my peace? Who do I consistently feel anxious, drained, or diminished around? What specific activities, even seemingly benign ones, leave me feeling utterly tired and depleted instead of genuinely inspired and energized? These questions aren't trivial. They matter more than you realize, because you can't just protect your valuable time. You absolutely have to protect your spirit. You have to fiercely guard your carefully constructed boundaries. You have to diligently safeguard your precious joy, even if that means respectfully distancing yourself from people you once deeply loved, even if it means being profoundly misunderstood by those who don't grasp your profound journey, even if it means walking a path of solitude for a while. This isn't about being unfeeling. It's about being discerning. This journey of self-protection is about more than just finding moments of rest. This is about absolute preservation of your most authentic self, your unique essence. This is about becoming so deeply grounded, so unshakably rooted in your own inherent worth, that you simply no longer tolerate the things, the people, the habits, the mindsets, or the environments that actively drain you, diminish you, or disrespect you. You genuinely don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You absolutely don't have to sacrifice your profound emotional well-being, your inner peace, or your mental clarity just to keep other people comfortable in their mediocrity, their discomfort, or their refusal to grow. You most certainly don't have to attend every single argument or unnecessary conflict. You're invited to, and you surely don't need to explain your unwavering commitment to your own peacekeeping to people who actively benefit from, and perhaps even thrive on, your chaos. Because the ultimate truth, a truth you must internalize, is this: your energy is sacred. It's the very vital fuel that ignites your purpose, that powers your passions. It's the invisible yet resilient glue that holds your most cherished dreams together when life inevitably starts pulling them apart. And if you don't fiercely protect it, if you don't guard it with the vigilance befitting the priceless treasure it is, someone else, often unconsciously, will come along and exploit it, use it, or simply siphon it off for their own gain. There comes a truly pivotal moment in everyone's life when you simply have to choose yourself, unequivocally and without apology, even if that momentous choice means courageously walking away from someone you deeply, genuinely care about, perhaps even love with every fiber of your being. Because no matter how much you love someone, no matter how many years, decades even, you've faithfully held on, desperately hoping for a different outcome, if they consistently cannot love you right, if their love perpetually leaves you feeling less than, then you must, for your own very survival, let them go. Not because you didn't try hard enough, not because you're suddenly bitter, resentful, or unforgiving, but because you've finally reached the profound, liberating realization that love that consistently confuses you, perpetually manipulates you, or repeatedly wounds your spirit is not, in fact, love. It is, at its core, a difficult, painful lesson, and some lessons, especially the most agonizing ones, must be closed with resolute silence, profound self-respect, and the courage to walk away. You see, authentic love is not something that needs to be begged for, pleaded for, or relentlessly chased. It's not something that has to be earned by meticulously breaking yourself into tiny, unrecognizable pieces just to desperately force yourself to fit into someone else's narrow, ill-fitting life. When someone consistently cannot love you right, it's not always because they are inherently cruel, malevolent, or intentionally malicious. More often than not, it's simply because they are not capable. They genuinely lack the emotional depth, the necessary clarity, the self-awareness, or the internal healing within themselves to offer something truly whole, complete, reciprocal, and healthy. And when you settle for that, when you stubbornly stay, clinging to a fading hope that they will miraculously change, transform, or suddenly become the person you need, you slowly, imperceptibly, begin to shrink. You subtly start to question your own intrinsic value. You silently suppress your most fundamental needs, your deepest desires. You tirelessly make endless excuses for behaviors that, if they came from anyone else, from a stranger or an acquaintance, would have utterly shattered your heart and soul, leaving you devastated. Real love, true love, does not ride hand in hand with confusion. It does not come laden with endless conditions, arbitrary ultimatums, or insidious power games designed to control. Real love sees you, truly sees you, in your entirety. It compassionately holds sacred space for your entire spectrum of emotions, your joys, your sorrows, your fears, your vulnerabilities. It deeply values and unequivocally respects your boundaries, recognizing them as essential for your well-being. And if someone consistently cannot do that, if their love feels like an unyielding pressure, a constant burden, if it feels like you're forever proving your worthiness, always waiting for something to shift, always hoping desperately for a different outcome, then that, my friend, is emphatically not love that nourishes and feeds your soul. That, more accurately, is mere attachment. That is the pervasive, suffocating fear of being alone. That is you, tragically, trying to desperately rewrite a story that was never, ever meant to be yours to carry, a burden that isn't truly yours. Let this liberating truth resonate deeply within your core. You are not too much for the right person. You are not too emotional, too loud, too soft, too ambitious, too strong, or too broken. You are not inherently flawed for being exactly who you are. Instead, you are exactly, perfectly enough for someone who is emotionally ready, truly ready, to meet you precisely where you are in your journey, and to walk with you, not perpetually ahead of you, leading you astray, nor eternally behind you, lagging and holding you back. And until that person, that truly aligned soul, that truly reciprocal partner shows up in your life, you owe it to yourself, deeply and unequivocally, to stop settling for fragments. Stop clinging to the desperate hope that someone who demonstrably doesn't even possess the capacity to fully love themselves will somehow, miraculously know how to love you completely, wholly and unconditionally. That's simply not fair to you. That's not genuine healing. It's merely a painful, protracted postponement of your own much-deserved peace. Letting them go doesn't signify a lack of love for them. It signifies that you finally, profoundly, loved yourself enough to stop accepting half of what you truly deserve. It means you've finally ceased making endless, exhausting excuses for someone who has, time and time again, shown you with undeniable clarity that they are only capable of loving you, strictly on their own terms, conveniently, and on their own limited capacity. You simply cannot keep pouring your precious, finite energy, your boundless generosity, into someone who only bothers to show up when it perfectly suits their convenience. When they need something, you cannot keep endlessly explaining your inherent worth, your undeniable value, to someone who doesn't possess the capacity or, more truthfully, the fundamental care to genuinely see it. You cannot keep carrying the monumental weight of a connection that is anchored solely in the fleeting, illusory realm of what could be or what might one day be instead of the concrete, often disappointing reality of what is. And it's not just about the empty words. Anyone, truly anyone, can effortlessly utter the words "I love you." Anyone can easily promise change, vow improvement, or make grand declarations. But love, real, authentic, transformative love, is proven in the unwavering how they consistently show up for you, how deeply and actively they truly listen to your heart and mind, how they make you feel after every single conversation, every interaction, every shared moment, and how they honor your sensitive heart, your deepest vulnerabilities when absolutely no one else is watching, when there's no performance to maintain. If their love constantly leaves you feeling unseen, unheard, and profoundly unworthy, if it perpetually keeps you walking on fragile eggshells, anxiously waiting for the next insincere apology, the next flimsy excuse, the next temporary emotional high, the next fleeting glimmer of hope, then it is unequivocally time, past time, to choose yourself. It's not about being cold, unfeeling, or uncaring. It's about being profoundly, unapologetically clear. You can love someone with every fiber of your being, with an almost agonizing depth, and still, with courageous clarity, recognize that they are fundamentally not right for you, not right for your growth, not right for your peace. You can pray for their healing, their growth, their enlightenment from a compassionate distance. You can genuinely appreciate whatever lessons they brought into your life, whatever fleeting joys or moments of connection you shared, and still, resolutely, refuse to keep losing yourself, piece by agonizing piece, in a futile attempt to keep them perpetually close, tethered to your being. That kind of profound personal growth, that level of self-preservation, requires immense inner strength. That kind of crystalline clarity doesn't simply appear overnight. It's forged through fire and painful lessons. But when you finally, definitively decide that your peace matters more than their unfulfilled potential, that your well-being is non-negotiable, that's the transformative moment when everything, and I mean everything, irrevocably changes, setting you on a path to genuine liberation. You've been relentlessly told throughout your life that you're too much, too loud, too emotional, too ambitious, too independent, too intense, too quiet, too sensitive. And every single time someone uttered those diminishing, limiting words, you imperceptibly shrank, just a little more, accommodating their discomfort. You subtly started to question your own innate brilliance, your own unique essence, wondering if perhaps you needed to dim your vibrant light, dilute your profound truth, silence your powerful voice, or soften your inherent power, all for the pathetic purpose of being accepted, of being loved by those who couldn't handle your magnitude. But let me impart a vital, liberating truth to you now, a truth you may not have heard nearly enough. They are too little. They are too little to truly hold the magnificent depth of your heart, to truly comprehend its vastness. They are too little to genuinely match the fiery passion that burns brightly within your spirit. They are too little to rise to the extraordinary level of intimacy, honesty, and consistent emotional presence that you, as a whole, deserving, and complete human being, genuinely require and deserve. And it's not because you're asking for too much from them, not because your needs are excessive. It's because they were consistently giving, and are only capable of giving, far too little. And when someone simply cannot meet you there, In that sacred space of reciprocal giving and receiving, it is not a reflection of your worth. It is a profound reflection of their limitations, their capacities, their unaddressed issues. You see, when you are a person of genuine depth, of fierce passion, of unwavering realness, of profound authenticity, you will, inevitably, sometimes intimidate those who only know how to comfortably swim in shallow, superficial waters. Your raw, unfiltered truth will feel deeply uncomfortable, perhaps even threatening, to individuals who have never possessed the courage to genuinely face their own shadows, their own fears, their own limiting beliefs. Your profound emotional intelligence, your capacity for empathy and connection, will feel overwhelmingly intense to someone who hasn't yet done the crucial internal work of healing, of self-awareness, of emotional growth. And instead of rising gracefully to meet you where you stand, instead of stepping up to your level, they will, almost instinctively, project their own inadequacies and insecurities onto you. They'll dismissively call you needy simply because you courageously crave genuine presence and connection. They'll label you dramatic just because you bravely express your feelings and refuse to suppress your emotions. They'll brand you arrogant just because you possess a clear, unshakable sense of your own innate value and refuse to play small. They will, without hesitation, blame you for the profound discomfort they feel in their own unhealed, unexamined spaces, twisting the narrative to avoid accountability. And if you're not exceptionally careful, if you don't stay vigilantly grounded in your truth, you will, tragically, start to believe their limiting, untrue narratives about you. But hear me now, and let this resonate with every fiber of your being. Do not, under any circumstances, shrink for anyone. Do not allow others to misinterpret your immense strength for intimidation, or to mistake your raw vulnerability and authentic expression for weakness. You were never created to fit neatly inside the tiny, suffocating boxes of someone else's convenient expectations, their comfort zones. You were never brought into existence to live a small, diminished life just to make others feel disproportionately big and powerful by comparison. If someone feels like your vibrant fullness, your complete and authentic self, is simply too heavy for them to bear, too much for them to handle, then let them walk away. Let them go. If they consistently tell you to tone it down, to be less passionate, less expressive, less you, understand this with absolute clarity. That is not love. That is insidious control thinly disguised as superficial comfort and acceptance. You were not meant to be merely tolerated, endured, or put up with. You were undeniably meant to be celebrated, cherished, and embraced in your entirety. And here's the beautiful, liberating truth. The right people, your true tribe, your genuinely aligned partners, will never ask you to be less. They won't be threatened by your beautiful complexity, your multifaceted nature. They will, instead, honor it, cherishing every layer. They won't be intimidated by your fierce independence, your self-reliance. They will, instead, admire it, seeing it as a strength. They won't reject your powerful intensity, your deep convictions. They will, instead, see it as the radiant fire that illuminates an entire room and inspires profound, meaningful change in the world. You are not a burden. You are an extraordinary, unique gift. But, critically, not everyone is prepared, willing, or equipped to genuinely receive and appreciate a soul as profound and vibrant as yours. And that's okay. You absolutely do not have to exhaust yourself explaining why you care so deeply, why your passions run so strong. You don't have to tirelessly justify your perfectly reasonable standards for how you deserve to be treated. You don't need to apologize for wanting more from life and relationships, for courageously asking for clarity, for intensely craving genuine connection, or for needing fundamental consistency and reliability. Those aren't flaws within you. Those are powerful, self-honoring boundaries. Those aren't weaknesses. Those are undeniable wisdom speaking directly from your evolved soul, guiding you toward what is right for you. Stop constantly questioning yourself simply because someone else lacked the capacity, the emotional maturity, or the willingness to meet you where you authentically stand. Stop endlessly revisiting your inherent worth through the limited, distorted eyes of someone who, quite frankly, never truly saw you or your potential to begin with. You're not too emotional. You are beautifully in tune with your rich inner world. your feelings serving as your compass. You're not too bold. You are courageously living out loud, embodying your truth. You're not too complicated. You are wonderfully layered, complex, and magnificent, just like every other powerful, multifaceted human being on this planet. If your radiant presence disrupts shallow spaces, if your authenticity makes others uncomfortable in their complacency, then let it disrupt. Let it shake things up. If your authentic voice, speaking its truth, shakes up surface-level minds and challenges the status quo, then keep speaking your truth, loudly and clearly. You are not here on this earth to be watered down, to be diluted, to be lessened. You are here to take up your rightful space, to live fully and authentically in your profound truth, and to walk boldly and unapologetically in your unique purpose. And that, unequivocally, will always be too much for those who consciously choose to remain small, afraid, and limited in their own lives. So, let this be your unwavering reminder, your profound declaration of liberation, your sacred decree. You do not need to apologize for outgrowing what no longer genuinely serves your peace, your growth, or your well-being. You do not have to spend another moment, another breath, explaining why you courageously demand honesty, unwavering respect, and consistent follow-through in your relationships and your life. You are not, by any stretch of the imagination, asking for too much. You are simply, finally, and powerfully no longer willing to accept too little, not a single ounce less than you deserve. You are absolutely allowed to protect your energy as if it were the most sacred, invaluable treasure you possess, for it truly is. You are unequivocally allowed to walk away from people who consistently demonstrate they cannot, or will not love you right, who diminish you, or who fail to meet your fundamental needs. You are powerfully, righteously allowed to say no more when the destructive patterns repeat themselves. With disheartening predictability, when the lies continue to stack up, layer upon layer, when your very spirit feels utterly drained, suffocated, and extinguished just from being in their mere presence, because the way someone chooses to treat you is not a reflection of your inherent worth, your value, or your lovableness. It is, and always will be, a direct reflection of what they are capable of giving, of receiving, and of demonstrating in their own capacity for love and respect. And once you truly know better, once you genuinely, soberly see the patterns for what they are, the insidious disrespect, the manipulative tactics, the heartbreaking inconsistency, then you owe it to yourself, with every fiber of your being, to stop tolerating anything that costs you your invaluable joy, your sacred dignity, or your profound inner peace. Let them go if they cannot rise to meet you at your level of authenticity and respect. Let them misunderstand you if they absolutely must. Their perception is not your reality. You don't need to diminish yourself, to become less than you are, to conform to their limitations. You don't need to shrink your beautiful light, to dull your sparkle. You don't need to stay, suffocating and diminishing, where your precious soul is continually stifled, merely to keep someone else comfortable in their stagnation or their inability to love you fully. This is your life. Protect it fiercely, with every ounce of your being. Honor it deeply, valuing your own well-being above all else. Live it boldly and authentically on your terms, with unshakable clarity, unwavering courage, and profound, uncompromising self-respect. At some pivotal point, a crossroads in life, you simply must decide what kind of life you are truly willing to live, what kind of joy you are willing to embrace, and, crucially, what kind of detrimental behaviors, what level of disrespect you will never again tolerate, under any circumstances, because how people choose to treat you is not only a reflection of them, their character, their capacity. It is a powerful, undeniable mirror showing you precisely what you are willing to allow into your sacred space. Disrespect, dishonesty, emotional neglect, manipulation. These are not small, trivial things. These are glaring, undeniable red flags waving furiously at your soul, warning you, urging you, compelling you to stand up for yourself, to bravely step back, to create necessary distance, and, above all, to unequivocally remember who you truly are, what you deserve. You are not here to endlessly endure people who cannot, or simply will not, value your irreplaceable presence. You are not here to tirelessly explain your inherent worth to those who steadfastly refuse to see it, to acknowledge it. It is absolutely not your job, your burden, or your responsibility to fix people who consistently keep breaking you down. Piece by painful piece. It is not your sacred duty to stay quiet, to be endlessly agreeable, or to minimize your most fundamental needs just to maintain a superficial, false peace, a veneer of harmony. The very moment you internalize and truly realize that your energy is profoundly sacred, that your time is unequivocally precious, and that your love, your emotional generosity, is a rare privilege, not a mere consolation prize, not something to be taken for granted, that is the transformative moment when everything, truly everything, changes. You, through your actions and your boundaries, teach the world, quite literally, how to treat you. You do this by what you courageously allow, by what you definitively stop tolerating, and, most powerfully, by what you bravely walk away from. So, walk away from anything and everything that dims your magnificent spirit. Rise above what ceaselessly drains your joy and vitality. And never, ever forget this foundational truth. Choosing yourself, prioritizing your well-being and peace, is not selfish. It is, in the deepest, most fundamental sense, sheer survival.